Welcome back to the Midnight Who Show, and today we're going to be reviewing The Eighth Doctor Time War Volume 4. This box set starts off with a two-part story, Palindrome by John Dorney. And this is an amazing story. This is probably going to be one of my favorite stories in the entire Eighth Doctor Time War box set range so far. John Dorney does a really good job of giving a really experimental type of story involving Davros, which I really enjoyed, and it also is the Daleks trying to rebuild their army. The Eighth Doctor and Bliss arrive in an alternate dimension, and they soon meet a different type of Davros. This Davros is not the maniacal person sitting in a chair. No, this is a normal scientist type of Davros. And I really like that approach that John Dorney does. It also allows Terry Molloy to kind of change up how he performs Davros, which I think is a very good addition to the story. The interesting thing is happening with Davros. The story starts off on day 5. Where he meets the Eighth Doctor and Bliss, but he has no idea who they are. They know him, but he doesn't know them. So definitely you can tell right from the start of the story that something is not right. And as day 5 continues, things don't go too well, and pretty much everyone dies. But this leads to Davros waking up in the previous day. As he goes through the story, every time he dies, he wakes up in not the next day, but the previous day. This does help him. He's still a little confused by all of this, but it does allow the Eighth Doctor and Bliss to kind of learn more about what's going on, because the Daleks are coming for them. And the Time Strategist has one goal in mind, and that is to rebuild the entire Dalek army to help continue on with the Time War. It should not be a good thing for Gallifrey, would it? The Daleks cause a lot of chaos for them, and they soon have to figure out a way to at least stop them in some form. One thing I could say about the story is the highlight of the story is Terry Molloy. He gives a fantastic performance. He takes the lead in this two-part story, and the Eighth Doctor and Bliss kind of takes second in this, and that really allows for just a really good exploration of Davros, and a lot of that is needed in the story because that's who the focus on is. And I will say he does a great job performing a variety of different types of Davros at different stages, and it has a very creepy scene in the second half where he's just like, you hear Davros reacting that he can't see or what's going on and why is he in this casing, and that was a really creepy scene. I like the idea of a multiverse of Daleks. That could really change the Time War. So overall, I really enjoyed Palindrome. It's a really good two-part story. It's very experimental, and I really just enjoy listening to it. These are the type of Time War stories I really enjoy. The third story in the box set is Dreadshade, which is definitely not as experimental as the first two stories. It's a little bit lighter, but that doesn't mean light in content. The story has a really good exploration of Gallifrey post a Time War, even though the Time War is not over. At least they don't know that yet. And it does kind of bridge to the conclusion of this box set. The 12 and Ken Bone's The General return in this adventure, and I wish this story had more of the 12. She was a great addition to the story, and I wish she was used a little bit more. Now, The General was a great addition. He's definitely good, because, we can't have Cardinal Lustra, unfortunately, anymore, so I think it was a smart idea on Big Finish's part to bring in The General. The Eighth Doctor and Bliss do arrive back in our dimension, and they find that Gallifrey, there's no more war, and they also don't have their memories, so none of them could remember what they fought something, but they couldn't remember the enemy. That's important because the Daleks are right around the corner, and they are fully reborn now, thanks to the Time Strategist. They do end up realizing that the Daleks were the enemies that they fought during the Time War, and that they are coming back with a fully restored army, and the Time War is just beginning. Overall, I really enjoyed Dreadshade. It was not one of those highly complex stories, but it does a really good job, I think, with showing what Gallifrey society is and what they would be like after a Time War. And it does show that they can never underestimate the Daleks, because as much as what the Time Lords do, the Daleks will find a way to combat them over and over again. And it makes for a really enjoyable story. And the 12 and Ken Bone's The General was a great addition, and a great choice for this box set. The box set concludes with Restoration of the Daleks, which sees the newly restored Dalek army from the Time Strategist show their full might. And the 8th Doctor and Bliss head to Casca to at least try to defend them, because as Bliss says, the Doctor is there to help where he can, and they definitely need the help. But when they arrive, they re-meet Davros, which, again, Terry Malloy, highlight of the box set, does an amazing performance in this box set. I really also like the story, how it really shows the Time Strategist a little bit more, but this is also a very traditional type of Time War story, where, it's Daleks attacking places. Very traditional Time War story, but it's a very good story. Matt Finn did a very good job with it. Hey, the ending to this story, it's very interesting. I'll be very intrigued to see where this heads to in the future. But yeah, that's an interesting ending. Really excited to see where that heads to. And also I can say Bliss is really good in this story, as she is in this entire box set. I think she did really good. They added a lot more development to her character, which I really enjoyed. And definitely Paul McGann does another amazing performance as the 8th Doctor. Overall, I really enjoyed the 8th Doctor Time War Volume 4. It was a really enjoyable listen. Definitely some really great performances. And a very intriguing ending that I cannot wait to see where it leads to in the future. Tell me your guys' thoughts on the 8th Doctor Time War Volume 4 in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.